This meeting is being recorded and will be uploaded to the Bill of Town Council YouTube page. The aim of the decision making should be transparent and in the public domain, which will involve more of the community and local democracy. By being in this council chamber, you're consenting to being recorded and for your images to be uploaded to the YouTube page. Images and sound may be used for training purposes. Any views expressed are the speaker's own and not necessarily a reflection of the views of Bill of Town Council. Please view the guidelines on recording in public meetings policy if you need more information. Thank you. First thing on the agenda is apologies. And to this evening, we've got Councillor Harper, Grady, Councillor Salter, part-time come but may be late, Councillor Eardley and Wood. Now, we have a late request come in and I need a show of hands where the other. Councillor Proudlove steps in for Councillor Wood this evening. Is everybody in favour to do so? Okay, let's carry that. So in the future, can we try and wait in a bit earlier, please?
Can I just tell apologies for Councillor Hart? I don't think you had his name on.
Oh, right, sorry, yeah, no, I was, yeah, I didn't actually. Councillor Hart, yeah, sorry.
Gone into hospital again.
Yeah. Thank you. Number 2, declarations of interest. Any disclosable pecuniary interests or any other interests? Nothing declared. If something crops up through the meeting, please declare. Yeah. Number 3, minutes. To confirm the minutes of the Finance Strategy Management Committee meeting held on the 28th of January. These have been approved in Town Council on the 11th of February. I want me to go through them page by page, but they have been approved in Town Council. I'm moving. Moved. Councillor Hart, Hawley, seconded Councillor Jones, all in favour? Thank you. Just sign these off. Okay, thank you. Moving on to 104 then. We've got 104A to approve the bank reconciliation for December 2004 and January 2005. All accounts attached. I'm going to move them. So Hawley. Yeah, move them. Everybody okay to move those? And second, Councillor Jackson. In favour? Thank you. We're on to B then. Achieve detailed income and expenditure at 19th of March 2005 attached. That's all.
I'm going to move these, but I've got some questions.
Okay, yeah.
Page 2. Basically, the questions I've got is where the actuals are well above the budget. We've got Lensman, we've got budgeted 1,000, and we've actually paid him 11,330 up to now. Is that what additional work has that actually entailed?
I think that's more a matter of rejigging some of the cost codes. So it's throughout that quite a number cost codes within each area. So that's Lengthman burial ground. There's also a Lengthman green space, and there's that kind of thing. The issue we have with some of his invoicing is that it's not always 100% clear which site it relates to. So we will use a bit of time before we finalise year end to kind of go back and try and allocate those to the right cost codes.
Okay, next one on that page is cleaning contracts bus hub, 14 grand budgeted. We're now at 17,900.
Yeah. Need to go back and just look at whether we've costed anything to that. It shouldn't be.
There's a few of these, so it might be that if you just go through and pick them, then it's actually
Yeah,
after the meeting, if you actually send us an email as to what they all are. We got subscription fees budgeted 3,000. We've had 4,973.
what did you on for there?
Councillor grants did 3,550. I mean, this again could be all to, the next one could all be to do with the Lansman. There's grass cutting. We got budgeted 2,000, we spent 17,530. Lansman green spaces, budgeted 7,000 and we've spent 10,275.
Yeah. I think some of these ones not associated with the burial ground, would be those additional tasks
Yeah.
that we did as part of the highways work, which we've been reimbursed for. But I'll get you the more detailed breakdown.
Yeah. Okay. Christmas lights event costs 4,000 and we spent 7,150.
Can you mention what page number you're on? Sorry.
Right, I'm on page 6 now, Kevin.
I've gone.
Catch you up there.
Say Christmas lights, that's got another 3 grand. And we've got events, new and haddock costs, budgeted 3,000, we spent 9,895.
Yeah.
Remember,
That's quite a lot of that. I know for a fact that's quite a lot of the UK shared prosperity activities, which we were then reimbursed for, but I'll do that breakdown as well.
yeah. Remembrance events was 400 and we spent 2,311. That's it. There's just a quick look through that I had and I was looking and basically sort of thinking why we've got budgeted this amount, we've got quite high amounts on the actuals, and I'm sort of thinking, well, we could do with some explanation as to why we got that.
Yeah, all valid comments, and if we don't know the answer straight away, we will find out.
Yeah,
Get
but
back to you.
I'm quite prepared that you basically might have to go back and look to see where it's come from, but I think we do need some answers as to why we got that cost.
Thank you for that. Councillor Jones.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I've just got a couple of questions. It's probably me being dim. On income, on page 3, we've got the 4th one on miscellaneous income. Budgeted 1,000, let's take 3,960, but where does that come from? Sarah?
That will often be if we've had a grant for something that we don't necessarily know where else to put it temporarily, if we haven't got
Okay.
a code for that. So it will kind of be there as a kind of holding position till we either create an income code for it or think of a better way.
It's a box to put it in. Okay, that's okay. On page 6 then, there's another one. Town and, for about 6th line down, miscellaneous income again, town and community, it's probably going to be the same answer. We didn't budget anything and we actually took in 10,640. That was the big answer as well, isn't it? Or something along those lines.
Yeah, I suspect that's another UK shared prosperity fund that we just have to find out.
Okay, I'm just glad to see it there. I'm just-
Yeah,
Yeah, UK shared prosperity is made this all a bit more challenging this year because some of it needed to be allocated to a cost code that didn't exist. So we've kind of found our way as things have gone.
We're like petty cash tins, aren't we?
a lot of money.
Is that tin for now?
A lot of money crosses hands every month in this.
I know.
So we will get the answers to the ones that you're not sure about. Councillor Yates.
Yeah, just a comment really, and picking up on councillor Hawley's point. I think where something is, say, plus 20% over what was budgeted for, then that is like an exception. That's what you're looking at. You're looking at things which are exceptions. And I think they're quite easy to spot as the result, as the reports are being created. So perhaps a little asterisk,
Yeah.
1, asterisk 2, asterisk 3, and a little exemption report, which allows us to sort of look at that first. And then, we're not all of us on the back foot and thinking what it is, because, with the amount of grants which have been coming in, the amount of that's allowed us to do extra work and extraordinary work in some cases. I think you'll have sensible answers on each of them, but I think a lot of that could have been preempted it, not being funny. I mean, we could look at the exceptions on that. And likewise with the income coming in, you know, if it's something which is massively over and above, just a little sort of caveat, note one, this is a UK shared prosperity fund, got to be reallocated. So,
Thank you. Chief Officer, please.
All I would say on that is previously I've given you the much more detailed income and expenditure report, which would have answered all of those questions, and you didn't want that. So now you want this version, but an amended version of that.
an exception report, yeah.
So you don't want the full detail, but you want some of the full detail.
Some of the ones which stand out, which would elicit a definite conversation, that's right.
I think, Chair, for me.
It's just getting the balance.
It just needs a couple of words. It's a memory job probably for you in committee like this. So you can say it was this, and this. That's all. You don't need to start writing reports for me.
Thank you.
Councillor,
That's what I'm saying, asterisks,
so,
okay, shared prosperity, you know.
Yeah, but basically, the thing is, what we're going to, one of the items further on here is to receive the internal control report, and we actually do talk about this
yeah,
in that report.
No.
So some of the things that you're talking about have
Detailed.
been identified.
Right,
in the-
okay, yeah, I mean, I think that's been raised before, that preempts any sort of fears of things being out of control, doesn't it? Because it isn't that.
okay, everything okay, that one then?
Yeah.
Have a mover then, please? Councillor Hawley, seconded by Councillor Jones, in favour? Thank you.
You would just second check.
So you-
Jones, Hawley, Jones. All right, moving on to receive a verbal update. Anticipated income and expenditure before the year ending, including UK shared prosperity funds. Chief Officer, please.
Thank you. Yes, so we're at that stage at the end of the year when we are issuing final invoices for activities and anticipating settlements of invoices that we've already sent out. So we are awaiting £2,980 from the County Council for Lexman work, which we have promised. We are preparing the final service charge reports and invoices of the year for our partners within this building. So we anticipate income there of somewhere in the region of £20,000. We have now paid the first instalment of the cost for the town hall, and as a result, we are anticipating £55,000 back in the UK shared prosperity funding. We also believe that when we've kind of added all this together and produced our VAT report, that we should get something like £20,000 back in VAT. We won't be submitting that until May. That will be form part of the end of this financial year. Just to let you know that we are also looking at items which we will need to carry forward to the next financial year for activities that we've received the funds for, but we'll complete the work next year. So we've received £5,000 for CCTV provision from the District Council for Station Road. So we'll need to start to commission that early in the new financial year. And we've also been successful with £4,500 of Library of Things funding, which we will get this year, but we'll actually need to spend next financial year. So there's a couple of activities there already to make you aware of that we'll need to carry forward.
Okay. Okay. All okay on that one? Give that update. Moving on then to receive an internal control report, February 2025. This is put together by Councillor Hawley and Early. Okay.
D.
D.
Right, sorry about that, skip one, sorry, D. Firm internal audit arrangements. This is the Chief Officer. Joanne Taylor is happy, apparently, with everything that we're doing so far. Quick update, please.
Yeah, so she's agreed that she's happy to do our internal audit again this year. The majority of that she feels she can do online. So obviously we publish a lot of our information on our website, and then she can ask for any other information. If necessary, she'll come to site, but she's, as I say, she's happy to do that online if we are happy with that as well. And if you're okay to continue with the same internal auditor, then I'll issue a letter to her confirm those arrangements to agree a date, which is usually kind of middle or end of.
Okay, so that's all good news, isn't it, that one? Yeah, see that, thank you.
Would you want to do a second?
Yeah,
Councillor James?
so, a seconder on that one, please. Deputy Mayor. Thank you. That's Beryl.
You wanted a second?
Oh, yeah, all in favour? Thank you.
Can you just note that I didn't vote because I wasn't here for the discussion?
All right then, yeah. That's us all survived anyway now. Receive an internal control report from February 2025 attached. This is councillors Hawley and Early have prepared this for us. We'll go through this, which well, a lot of time and effort in on this, so we'll go through it just page by page. Shout if you want to go through at anything. So page 1. Page 2. Page 3. Page 4. Page 5. Page 6. Page 7. Page 8.
I was going to say on to page 8, I mean, mention general comments and recommendations. Yeah, we were talking about actual expenditure against budget, and what we said is it needs to be a standing agenda item of the Finance Committee with a report identifying the current spend against budget and any proposed remaining spend, so we can see what's happening through the year. And I think in addition, obviously where we've got discrepancies, 20% seems a reasonable amount, that we actually have something that indicates what those discrepancies are caused by. And we've also queried reports where budget doesn't include earmarked reserves. This needs to be shown on reports, and apparently there's a problem, I'll say a problem, Scribe doesn't do it, so they're going to raise it with Scribe to see if we can have it included. And also the materials asset register, that's reviewed annually, and we recommend it's done every 6 months rather than that. That's pretty much it. Other than that, everything was fine, no problems.
Thank you for that report. I mean, I thank all the staff, but this particularly is done in your own time at your own cost. So thank you very much for those two councillors who do that for us. Thank you. Moving on to F. These were there were no recommendations following the 2023-24 audit as we moved last year and towards the year end. That's just a
Just
there's
point of
nothing to chase
information,
up
though.
really, basically, that's all it's saying.
Yeah, so at this point, you would, if there'd been some recommendations following that audit, that need to be coming to you to say, "Well, this is this, so this agenda item really. No actions to bring to you as we move towards another year end.
Right. All good. Thank you. On to G then. Consider any significant events in 2024-25 that have impacted on the town council's activities. A PowerPoint presentation for us coming up, please.
It's more like a Word document, actually.
Is
I've
it?
done it all with you.
I don't, okay.
So those of you who've done this for quite a number of years know that when we do our external audit, we are required to demonstrate that we have considered any significant events that have taken place during the.
Expand it a bit.
Yeah,
Struggling to see it. Thank you, that's better.
yeah, any events that have occurred during the course of the year and then how we reacted to them. Comfortable with the way that we approached anything that we deemed to have been significant. Basically, we've kind of had the opportunity to reflect on some of those activities. So just in terms of some options that I have put forward as being potentially important within these discussions. Obviously, during the 2024-25 financial year, we continue to experience ongoing high energy bills and the associated town hall costs. Linked with that, we then set up a town hall working group to look in more detail at that information and to plan the way forward for that. So I would personally think that the response to that was proportionate in relation to the issues that we were identifying at the time. Proof Works Together continues to be a significant project for the town council. Obviously, that's in response to cost of living issues for our partners and for our residents. In terms of big projects that we've undertaken this year, we've had quite a number of significant capital projects. So in terms of our response to those, all of that information has been reported through this committee or directly to town council. So town hall frontage being one of those, which will obviously spill into next financial year. We've also installed miners' lamps, the mosaic bench, and finally restored the bench at Overton Road. So there's quite big capital costs there for us anyway. We've got new partners with people like Cinema for All and Outside, which are included for us, some new cultural activities and arts, which has been it's been new for us, but it's been very positive. We've collected feedback on those activities. We've adopted as a town council new environment policy, and some key activities in that going forward. We've got some new partnerships, so the Chain Reaction partnership in relation to biking and cycling activities is new, as are the 2 Trent Head projects that we were involved with. As a town council, we have trained a significant number of mental health first aiders, which has been significant for us as a town, and we will move that forward throughout the course of next year. In terms of other events I've put there, is there anything else that you think we needed to have considered as that's happened this year, and whether or not we feel that our responses were proportionate, and whether there's any kind of lessons to be learned there?
Thank you, Councillor Salt and Jackson.
I would just say the fountains, I think that's been quite challenging and it's probably worth noting.
Yeah.
And there's probably some learning from that as well.
Councillor Jackson.
Yeah, with regards to the ongoing high energy costs, is there a plan? Are we looking at what we're going to be doing to try and mitigate the ongoing high costs and what we can possibly do without it? I mean, that's, just the wording of that is then the next question is, well, what do we do about it?
So the conversations I've had, which we'll need to get our heads together about, is that we need to this next financial year is to renegotiate the management agreement with Staffs Moors District Council.
It's not just this building, it's the hub and also the hideaway issue as well that needs to be looked at in conjunction.
Yeah, agreed. And going forward, we need to think about other ways of generating energy that's not just gas based. So we'll need to have that as an opportunity beyond this financial year. So obviously we're concentrating on this financial year. Beyond that, we'll need to have some ideas about that.
Certainly need to do something, don't we, the way it's going, energy. Councillor Yates, please.
Yes, looking forward as opposed to backwards, obviously we've had the issues with rack non-structural panels being identified in the main town hall, and that's being managed at the moment, but that is an obstacle really, just building on what Councillor Rogers says, to actually looking at decarbonisation and generating its own electricity, because you can't really retrofit something on something which is very much got a shelf life. So I think during the course of the next year, the proposal to what we do to actually resolve that issue so that we actually can move forward and start generating its own electricity, because there's a massive potential for insulating the building to reduce the energy uses. And obviously everybody knows loft insulation, anything to do with the roof is the first thing, that and draft proofing is the first thing you do. And secondly, that would give us a stable roof to, not saying it isn't stable, but a stable, ongoing, indefinite platform for putting, solar panels or whatever on there. So I think that's something that needs to be put in there. And I think there is potential scope for, with the new UK Shared Prosperity Fund, which is allegedly a lot of it is revenue based, to actually work up proper schemes and plans so that they're ready to go when the appropriate grant is there. And I reckon that, a scheme of works, as we've seen with the town hall frontage, to get that work done and paid for externally would put us in a good position to go for grant funding, whether that be through a decarbonisation fund, whether that be through an alternative version of UK Shared Prosperity Fund, or whether it comes down, we would be shelf ready to go, so to speak. And I think that's the position we need to be in next year. And that would alleviate a lot of the issues around what we're going to do about energy at the same time.
Thank you. Councillor Yates.
Can I just ask,
Yeah,
Councillor Yates, what is there an option that, can we find a way of putting something on the visitor centre roof? There must be a way of fixing.
We've got,
You know about these things.
through the chair, if we can come back on that.
Yeah.
To me, it's a personal opinion, but I think it's one which the majority of people share. If you've got a multi-decade asbestos roof, you wouldn't fit solar panels on which have got a life expectancy of minimum 25 years, knowing that within that 25 years, you're probably going to get further degradation to the point of needing to repair those roofs. So to me, you need a grant which does both things together.
The roof fit.
And again, fabric first, again, you've got a situation a little bit like we're talking with the town hall, is that if you replace the roof, you'd replace it with new panels, which were insulated, which would A, reduce the consumption, and B, permit the solar panel things and go on. And I think that is a project which, you know, I think there's general support with at SMDC to do that. At the moment, the thought, the indication is that the next round of UK shared prosperity funding is revenue based as opposed to capital based, which doesn't lend itself to either of those two projects. If you're talking about decarbonising here and decarbonising down there, and I think what the government centrally are looking at is to get everything ready so we can move quickly as money's become available, which is a laudable thing, but it's frustrating if you think you can actually go ahead and do something.
thank you for that. It's obviously something to keep in mind as and when we get round to doing that.
I was just curious.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for your update. All right.
Any
Moving
other
on a little
issues?
bit then. Sorry?
Any other issues?
Any other issues? Anything else? No? Shall we move on then? Your comments will be taken in mind, obviously. Got to be not ignored, but we can't just sort them out tonight. Moving on to 105. To approve a deputy health and safety monitoring officer. As you will know, without getting into detail, we lost one of the monitoring officers. Councillor Harper has stepped up to the breach of the monitoring officer, but he does need a deputy, preferably. Would anybody like to take on the health and safety monitoring councillor deputy post? Don't all put your hands up at once.
Chair, that's a question to be asked at full council when everybody's.
Just going to suggest if it's not on here, point to full council, every councillor to be asked the question. Is that the way forward, do you
Well, it
think?
was deferred from full council to here.
Yeah, you're right, sorry.
Move, defer it to.
Councillor Jackson, seconded.
I'm just gonna say we've got a couple of co-options coming up next month. Maybe one of those two people may have some skills that might want to come. So if there's no mad rush for it.
We'll roll it over, another one, can we? Put it on next agenda, put it on the next finance agenda then. Because by then we'll have two more councillors.
Well, I think, Chair, joking apart, it does need to done at full council when everybody's here. I don't know how we got it shoved on Justice Committee, really.
Put it on the next finance agenda anyway, something to think about. If anybody has a burning
Do you want to propose a second?
proposed by, proposed on the second.
Be here and
After next laugh. Councillor Yates, seconded by Councillor Jackson. We'll put it on to the next finance committee meeting agenda.
Full council meeting agenda.
Right, then we'll put it on full council, so what happens. Back it around.
Put it back, yes.
We can leave it on here. We'll leave it on here. Any suggestions? Anybody want to put the name forward? We can authorise it through this committee. Moving on.
Oh, I wasn't. No. I was just gonna, sorry, Chair. I was just going to suggest that we could ask Sarah to send an email out to all councillors saying, can someone volunteer, please? It'll be ratified at the next finance committee.
It'd be interesting through the chair, it'd be interesting to know what it actually entails. You know, this is what we'd be expected to do. Because there's that sort of resident of not just knowing the time commitment, but really, in some respects, you know, the attributes required to actually competently do the job.
Well, it's a job
was deputy, as
in health and safety monitoring council.
I know.
Who is one of us. So.
Chris, yeah.
Email the job spec out to everybody.
Yeah.
Where we go from there, okay.
Pay rate.
106. Receive a presentation of the current assets register and management of assets. Another overhead reduction proposal. Coming up. please.
Red, showing your age.
Yeah. It's just, this, you know, this is the time of year again, or we consider our management of assets, so that we do this in two ways. So when a large item is added to Scribe, it goes on to the Scribe asset register. So there's a kind of an automatic process there. We also go through a process each year of looking at the other purchases that haven't potentially been of greater value than £1,000. So for example, a laptop somewhere in the region of £500 or £600, we have quite a number of laptops. So it wouldn't necessarily make the cut, as it were, on Scribe, but it does need to form part of our asset register in terms of the accumulation of laptops. Then we have that as active materials. We go through two processes: identify them through Scribe, and also we have an inventory list which includes everything that we have bought for the town hall, the town council throughout the course of the year. And those items then get added to our kind of rolling Excel spreadsheet. So there's always the same blurb at the top. We go through that, it's the same sort of thing. And then some additional items that have been included in red, which we will then review over the next few weeks to come up with the definitive figure as regards what our current asset value is. We can just so like you see on there, we've got things like, so you know, it's in red at the moment because it's not finalised, but we bought a new scanner, an additional phone, a laminator, that kind of thing. But we would include all of that within a office equipment kind of heading, which would then have a value that would make that part of the asset register. Within the asset register as well, we've got things like, so the at the moment there's a purchase of the town hall frontage bricks, so that's on the asset register as well. We might decide after they've been installed to take that off that particular line and to move it into the kind of the value of the building as a whole. But at the moment, whilst the bricks are not in situ, they've made it onto the asset register just in terms of the fact that we own them and that's the value of them. I don't know if there's any questions as regards how we do that.
Mr. Chair,
Right, Deputy Mayor.
may I ask, there's presumably a procedure for the removal of redundant assets, is there?
Yeah, so absolutely. So every time, you know, we have a standing agenda item on this committee, which is the disposal of any assets. So if/when any assets are disposed of, they're then removed from the spreadsheet at the same time as well. But we've approved previously that, you know, if an asset is to be disposed of, it's done by you so that it can be limited.
Salt.
I was just wondering whether we have like a barcode or whether we write on our stuff to say that it's an asset of the town hall. Do we do any of that? And there might be a reason why we don't. I was just curious.
IT stuff, yeah. Other than that, we've got a comprehensive list of things we own, so we're always aware of, you know, even down to we bought another set of papers, you know. The vast majority of things outside of the specific office space, yeah, are owned by the town council. So include all of those in there, and then consideration of that as well, obviously, when we do our insurance renewals.
I'm just wondering as well, so is there anything nickable that would clearly say it belongs to the town council on it? Particularly in places like the kitchen and stuff like that. Like, what do they call it? Indelible ink and stuff, you know, where you can.
We could think about things like that. The things that you would think could be removed in areas like that would be larger items anyway, like a microwave or a toaster or something. You'd have to hope somebody would see that.
Yeah.
But we certainly could invest in one of those pens. That'd be no problem at all.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Yates.
There's capital expenditure, and you normally do capital expenditure technically on assets. I wouldn't expect the doors upgrade or an IT upgrade to appear on an asset, because be an asset in the context of most of it, you know, like Victoria Business Centre windows and things, it's something you can actually pick up and mark or carry out and take away. It's part of the fabric of the building and becomes an integral part of the building. isn't it?
Yeah, it's.
Yeah, that's why it's in red. So that's why I said.
Well, it's in red because it was new, you said.
Yeah, but the things that we're looking at the moment in terms of then altering the value of those items and those issues. So what we've got on there at the moment is expenses that potentially
Yeah.
could trigger a conversation about things or whatever. Just for information.
What's the figures to take on there, really? But,
It's not really the biggest so much, Chair, if you don't mind. It's just really the process that we go through and just making, just reminding you, as we do each year, about how we do manage assets, and then you're kind of clear about the process for that. That's obviously something that we'll look at as part of the internal control as well.
thank you for those in-depth updates that we get. Keeps us on up to date of what goes on, doesn't it, really? Thank you very much. Well, in favour, we can move on.
Just receiving it.
Just received that, thank you. Right, 107. See an update on the County Council Community Health and Point Review presentations attached. This is quite a big one. I'll go through it page by page again. Anybody wants to shout up on anything? Page 1.
Can I just ask, has this been presented to staff or something? This is
Yeah, so
history behind this.
yeah, so that we are a community health point. We're within the county council's system of support for residents. So just by way of a recap on that, then if the county council gets a call into one of their call centres and it's not an issue that they can deal with specifically themselves, so it's a very localised issue, they will send a referral through to us to make contact with the person to try and find a local solution to that. So we're a kind of part of that network, the Community Help Point network. I just thought it was quite interesting to have a look at this review that they've undertaken, just because we are part of that. We've been pleased to be part of that. It's not an onerous responsibility for us to be within that world, but I think it's very positive that they're looking at improving that process. Just for information, really.
Thank you. Pauline?
Yeah, I'm just going to say, really, do we need to go through it line by line, or is it just?
I just can go page by page if anybody wants to.
Page by page, I mean, I just sort of thought, well, if Sarah just gives us anything to update on what's actually in there, and leave it.
Yeah, I think it's just there for information, really. We make
Right.
reference to schemes that we're part of, and it's useful, I think, for you to know that you need to be reminded that it's we're part of a wider network of services, and Biddulph residents are well supported through our relationship with the county council.
Sure.
Just question, Chair, on the last page, it says first meeting Monday, 18th of November. 18th of November, is that here? No.
No, we've got a working group. It's been knocking around for a little while with this presentation. But it's so we're part of the Community Help Point working.
So is that meeting that presumably stopped then, is it?
They're online these days.
Oh, they're on the Teams.
All right. That's all.
Yeah, I can't remember which slide I've read it on or whether it was a document, but there was a point somewhere in these documents that said they want to co-produce, but they use that term quite flippantly to make it better. And I'm not sure whether the co-production includes service users or not, and it absolutely should.
Yeah.
So could you feed that back? Because it's all right producing it amongst yourselves, but you're not going to find out what the public want or need unless you involve them.
I think that's very much the aspiration, but when there's a further work written email, I'll make that.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. I've said many a time, you do need to go through these before the meeting. No, most do. But it's such a big document, we can't do every page on the night, so we do need to go through it well in advance, but I know you do that. Thank you very much. Okie dokie then. Moving on then to 108. All there says to say that staff appraisals will be taking place in April.
Noted.
Noted, that's all that is. Thank you. Number 9, to receive an update on the management of the waste from April 25. What this says in brief, the waste from the kitchens, which hopefully into massive amount, all goes into one bin. And it's proposed that we have generally 2 bins, one for food and one for general waste. If officer, please.
So I've just put together a waste management statement, and thanks to Ange for all her hard work on this. She's been liaising with our current waste providers. So obviously I've stated there that we're committed to managing waste in an environmentally responsible, sustainable and cost effective manner. From the start of April, we need to implement new waste management processes. Our other sites outside of the town hall aren't within the scope of the statement. So in October 23, the UK government announced the new recycling legislation, so that businesses with 10 or more full-time employees are required to separate dry recycling and food waste. So obviously dry recycling is hard plastics, paper, cards, steel, aluminium, etc. In response to that requirement, we are going to change the general waste bins that we've got, which at the moment is mixed waste, which goes through the picker. And then we have a separate card waste bin, which is obviously just card and goes straight to recycling. Following the recommendation from the bin provider, we're going to implement the dry mix recyclable bins, which are general and cardboard waste, which then will go through the picker. And that meets those waste regulations there. And we're also introducing a canteen bin for food waste, and that's supported by individual food waste bins in each kitchen area. Which would be emptied daily and will be lined with paddy liners that meet that standard. So caretaking staff will undertake that work, and then the signage will be installed within each work area. And that will ensure we meet the required legislation.
Thank you for that, Councillor Jackson.
Yeah, certainly not against this, but is there a cost that comes with the extra bins and?
Yes, but it's not significant. Because essentially you're changing one bin for another. The work actually is at our end in terms of making.
I can understand the sorting out bit.
Yeah.
If we've got one extra bin.
Yeah, but
it's
we're
gonna be empty. So we're gonna have 2 bins instead of 1, so there's gonna be a cost in that respect. I'm not saying it's gonna be a vast amount of money, but.
No, it's not, because we remove the cardboard bin, so we lose that one. What do you say? Won't we find it the new ones?
No, yeah, it's not.
It's fine, we've got it.
Just
I
looking
couldn't
for
put
it now
on
for
there,
you.
only that was the statement that I thought we would publish, you see, so that's why I didn't put that on there. Can't do it. No, that. Okay, so the town hall, the change to the dry waste bin means that they're the same price. And then the cardboard bin, a change from the cardboard to the canteen bin. There's a slight increase there. I don't know what the original price was, but that's a slight increase there. I don't think we've got a massive amount of choice on that, to be honest with you. I'll find you a current invoice. Talk amongst yourself.
Oh, we're looking like a couple £100 is that?
I'm not even that.
Okay, that'll do then. That's all right.
Not sure the exact figure, but it doesn't look like it's much, really.
No, as I say, it's not. Unfortunately, it's not something we've got a massive amount of control.
No big issues there, it's no problem.
Okay,
Yeah, I think it goes up by about £14 on one bin.
£14.
14.
We need a long discussion about all that.
That's about 14 quid, Kev. 14 quid's worth of coffee.
Councillor Salt, while we're just looking for that.
I'm just gonna ask this question, you might not be able to answer it, but I'm just conscious that some people, and I don't know what company we're using, some unscrupulous companies say that they'll sort and pick waste, and they don't, and then it ends up being shipped off to some kind of country in Africa like Nigeria, and then they end up dealing with our waste, and we think we've done the good thing by recycling, and actually we've just moved the problem to a different country. How sure are we that this company will pick and separate and recycle our waste?
We've recently had another copy of their certificate, waste management certificate. So yes, I think we've certainly asked the question and received the relevant certification, yes.
Thank you, that's all I wanted to know. That's good.
If you want to see a copy of that, I'll absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I'm sure you've done your due diligence as you have, it's there, so.
We you know, we've been certainly saying, you know, you kind of send things off in good faith and hope for the best, don't you? But no, and actually they've been really, the current provider's been really easy to work with on this.
Okay. Moving on then. To the policies, 110. No, yeah, Jackson.
Suggest the policies that are just date change, we take them as read, because there's no changes.
Not many of those, unfortunately.
Where's?
This one's really.
They're all-
First one, yeah, was not many, there's a lot with a lot of changes.
Okay, so 8,
A's done that.
A's done.
So A, let's make for dates.
Yeah.
6 on the second, well, I can tell you how many there's actually. 6 on the second one. That's dates and a couple of amendments.
Are you on paper?
Yeah,
Well, yeah, pay policy now, yeah.
Next. Can I just ask a question, the new bit on it, I did read it a couple of times. And I struggled to understand exactly what it said. That's probably me. I didn't understand the change. It just would not compute with me. I didn't understand exactly what was being said.
On the on-cap.
I'm on pay policy.
Pay policy.
Yes, second page, is it third page?
Good page.
put it up on the screen, the difference, the change. Is it possible to have them up on the screen? Just the-
Yeah. Are we approving the CCT one? That's just.
Yeah.
All in favour of the CCT one, those and seconded.
Yeah, just pick somebody. We're all.
That's straightforward, that one is, yeah. Some have got a lot of changes. I can tell you how many. I've wrote them all down, many of those per one. But the question on the second one, on this pay policy, that Councillor Jackson wants some clarification on.
I went as far as looking up the Hutton report, it's 2010, I think it was actually done, but. I said that 32,800, that is the median pay for this organisation, is that's the bit that we're saying, right? So that's like the base number, and nobody should be, was it 20 times below the highest paid, which I'm sure that's definitely not the case. That's the one.
It's more for chief executives.
Yeah.
Not going out of hand.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I certainly understand that. So it's not relevant. Those figures are not relevant anywhere near.
No, those figures are in there because we're required to publish them, but in terms of whether that should give you any concern, the answer is absolutely not. Yeah, I mean, I guess it's really for much larger organisations when your chief exec's on, £250,000 quid and the vast majority of your employees are on minimum wage. It's that kind of discussion, really.
Yeah, but like I say, it does not, it nowhere,
Doesn't apply.
it doesn't apply in any way, shape or
But it has to
form,
be
anywhere near.
So we're
Any of,
nowhere,
you know,
the 1.9
limits.
cents.
Yeah.
nowhere near at all.
I mean, yeah, that's plainly obvious, but.
Yeah, it's just something that we have to push, but it's like I say,
Okay.
it's a concern.
Thank you. Councillor Jones?
I was sure Sarah's just said what I was going to ask, which is obviously it's something, it's a legal imperative to put it in the policy. It's not appropriate for this council, so it has to be there. So move approved for that one as well.
Right, opposed? Seconded? Favour? Thank you. Moving on to C. Now, there's 9 on this one. I'll tell you that, because I've gone through them. Dates, obviously, there's several of them.
And they basically,
It's just a change of
those words, aren't
policy,
they?
aren't they?
Just
It's a change of policy
The
now.
9, well,
In reds,
identical.
yeah,
But they're all like,
just highlighting how many reds there are.
yeah, it's just change the policy now.
Yeah.
move that one.
Seconded, in
Second.
favour? Yep. On to D, harassment and bullying. We have 9 again, that's with dates, etc. Similar things.
Again,
Yeah. So I like how many there's, that's all.
Yeah, move
move that one.
Opposed? That's all, seconded, that's the 8, in favour. Thank you. We just catch up now. This is only 4, so that's mainly dates. Opposed? Councillor Yates, seconded. Councillor Jackson. In favour? Favour, thank you. Public participation and public meeting policy is the 7 on that one in total.
That's a question.
Yeah, of course you can, yeah.
Basically, you're sort of saying it's public participation in public meetings policy, but it actually says on the thing, it's public participation in council meetings, which is it supposed to be?
It would be what the policy is called, that would be just an error.
Is it just a typo in the agenda? That's fair enough, but, yeah.
Thank you. Those are them.
Just ask a question, Chair.
Question.
Why is that one not reviewed until 27 rather than 26? Just wondered.
Just do them all every year. There's a few changes for some of the legislation and the guides.
Oh, the limited. Okay,
We can just,
fine. Yeah, that's fine then. I'm
Yeah.
happy with it.
the ones we mainly look at every year are the real HR ones rather than the kind of guidance that we give.
So,
Yeah, thank you. On to G, annual leave and special leave. Oh, sorry, proposer. Councillor Yates, seconded. Jackson, in favour. All, thank you. Annual leave policy, you've actually got 21 on here. Red highlights. It's including dates, obviously. Councillor Hall.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, are the changes that you've actually made to this in line with new legislation, or is it? So if it's in line with new legislation, then
That's what most of them
would, basically, unless anybody got any problems, we accept it.
So when it's an HR policy, they will go to the HR solicitor for her to review, and these are the recommendations that she's had. It'll be flag changing government policy or as regards to in terms of, the kind of figures behind maternity leave and what kind of thing. Review those. And you've got the most recent figures in there for that, so that's the vast majority of the kind of red on that document.
Okay. Councillor Jackson.
So have we had an issue where an employee has not taken their allocated leave in the allocated time and asked for an extension? No.
Sometimes we carry days over, but policy will say that we can carry it up to 5 days forward. If annual leave, and there'll be a reason why that's happened. Potentially.
Somebody might want to take like 3 weeks holiday and want to save a week from last year. And I haven't got a problem with that at all.
Yeah, we're trying to avoid that though, because obviously that's more difficult to manage for people going forward, but there'll be reasons why dates, carry forward.
I did have an issue once where I worked and people hadn't taken their annual leave because they're worried about missing out on overtime, and the company actually offered to buy these holidays back.
Right.
Told them they were theirs to sell.
Okay, so proposer for annual leave. Yates, seconded. Councillor Hawley, in favour. Yep. Mark of death in a public holder of office, that's only got 4, so that's the dates. Main,
Question about that one.
yeah,
What happens if you didn't want the flag to fly once you popped your clogs? Could you make your wishes known to the council and it wouldn't happen?
I think replaced by the Jolly Roger.
Really, because when I pop my clogs, I don't want the flag flying. I just don't want it to happen. So can there be something in that policy that says if an ex-mayor doesn't want the flag flown at half mast when they pop the clogs, then they don't have to. It's not an automatic thing.
I mean,
That's the former mayor.
Yeah, no,
Was it
Yeah.
the present mayor?
no.
former.
All right.
Well, council,
Well, I want a flag. I just say, get that.
What's cute?
pass a list round. Or against.
just not yet.
Just put it out, I'm not ready yet, I'm not ready yet.
I think probably it's just a one line in there that says something about the, you know,
Just because I'm an awkward.
if you're an awkward one, yeah. It's not a request of the family, you know, maybe it's that sort of thing. So those who are making your arrangements, if they request that's not the case, then
Come back and
honor that.
Thanks.
We can work on that, we tell you.
Don't tell me, won't make any difference. I'm not gonna know about it.
All right then, have a proposal on that one, please.
Not come aboard.
Well, Councillor Soul, seconded by Councillor Jones, in favour. Thank you. Going on to flag flying protocol, that's only 4, so that's your dates.
Not a flag up.
Proposer. Flag flying, Councillor Hawley, seconded, Councillor Yates, in favour. Thank you. Review council email and IT use guidance, 4, so that's your dates again. Opposed? Seconded. That's the 8th, seconded by. Deputy Mayor. Thank you. Review councillors handbook, it's actually 33 in this one, red highlights.
You've been busy counting you.
Every time we've crossed, the chief officer's just made a change.
Full red.
There you go.
Want to go through that page by page, or are you okay to go?
I've been through it, I don't think there's anything in there that is basically
No.
controversial.
Nothing controversial, this update. First by Councillor Hawley, seconded by Councillor Proudlow, in favour. Thank you. Review careers policy, there was 8 of that one, on that one.
There was.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah,
Is this again
yeah,
a
sorry.
new legislation?
Russian,
Guidance from the front.
Oh, is it?
that was policy, sorry, it's me being Russian.
The banning policy.
Don't treat yourself here. Did a foot bootmarks on them, shouldn't they? Pet carers policy, there we are. 8 on this one. Anybody look tight, Councillor Soul? David, seconded by Councillor Jones, in favour. Thank you. Now this last one, I'll tell you briefly on this, but we'll call more in depth this banning policy. There's been a few incidents in this town hall, mainly through the front door, where people haven't been nice to staff members. So proposing that they get a verbal warning and a written warning and then get banned. Chief Officer, please.
A bit more than people being nice. Otherwise,
All right, then. I'll put it politely. They're not minutes,
The reason for the creation of this policy is essentially so that we can staff and our partners, and it's arisen out of a relationship with our partners. The conversation that we had with them. There's a gentleman who historically have visited citizen advice. He is aggressive and unpleasant to work with, and they will only now deal with him over the phone. And in order to support that activity, we have discussed the way that he works within this town hall. He's also like that to our staff. In a sense, it's easier for our staff to deal with him because he's the glass counter for us. But still, it's not a pleasant experience with this individual, and his issues could be dealt with over the phone by whichever agency was it working. The point really for this policy is that then we have a position as regards the very, very few, the small number of people that we might ever need to ask not to come back to. And it's so that we've got a clear route for them. So actually that somebody would know that if it was the case that they were asked to leave and their behaviour continued, there is a process that we would follow, and that would be used consistently for each person that was in relation to. And also that there is a way back in so that we can have that conversation and say, actually, if your behaviour changes, then this is what, this is what we can do to support you going forward. So that's the reason for that. It's not something that we would ever plan on using extensively, but it's just the position clear as regards the treatment of our staff and our staff.
Thank you, councillor Jones.
I think I'm doing okay.
Thank you, Chair. I applaud the policy. I'm a bit worried about staff safety, that's all. If we get to step 2, by temporary removal, who's actually going to do that? If they don't want to go,
There were more.
police are going to do.
So the most recent incident we've got of that, we had a member of our team on reception who became increasingly uncomfortable with the conversation that she was having with an individual, who was then supported by another member of the team. Would the gentleman was asked to leave and declined to do so. And that being the case, we then phoned the police.
That needs to be written down in here, that's all I'm wondering. If it's this is staff policy, isn't it? So I just wondered if that sort of, what they do.
Yeah.
If they're being awkward and won't go. And I mean, the likes of myself, maybe you might show them out and do it yourself, though you shouldn't. But I don't want anybody getting hurt trying to follow this policy.
No, that's absolutely right. So yeah, I can add a little bit to that. That's fine.
Okay.
I mean, essentially, what we don't want to be in a position that some have been in within the town where they're expecting the police to manage their building. So I think we would only call the police, and I think that's the point to make if someone's behaviour was threatening, and there was a potential risk of violence or an escalation like that. So I think we can make that point within that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for that, councillor Lawton, and then Sol.
Thank you. Without question, support for the need for the policy and for those it seeks to protect. But just a couple of detailed questions arising from it. That is, gave an illustration of someone who was waiting to see citizens' advice, for example. One might argue that from a legal point of view, visiting citizens' advice is optional. There may be, one would imagine, certain occasions when they need to communicate with the town council, where there might be legal penalties for not doing, whatever. And that is something that's got to be accommodated somehow. And if in accommodating that, you say they can phone call. I mean, I once worked with a lady who was profoundly deaf. And I realised that that is very much a hidden disability. Can't phone. Is there an alternative to that specified to cover such people as that, please?
The way I envisage this working is if somebody was banned from the building, then a bespoke solution would be found for them in terms of how they could engage with people who were in here. But I can make that stronger within the policy if you think that's appropriate. So that actually we would look at their individual needs and then hopefully then plan a solution that meant that they could still access the services that they needed to, but without causing alarm or concern to those within this building.
Whilst protecting staff.
Yeah.
Chaperone service.
Councillor Jackson.
Yeah, it's a bit of a damning indictment of where we are that we've had to sort of come down this road, to be fair. But if someone is banned from this building, would that person be banned from things that happen on a Saturday night, if there's a show or something on there? And if so, who would police that? If that person wanted to take part in public participation in one of the council meetings, would that person be banned from that sort of thing as well? That sort of thing. I know it's off the wall and it's, you know, the chances of it happening are very minimal, but I just wondering, you know, where does, you know,
Let's draw the line.
banned from the building, banned from the building during normal working hours? Well, are we normal working hours now or what? You know, I don't know, just saying. I'm just after a bit of clarity that if someone is banned from this building, they are banned from this building.
That would be my view.
Okay.
If we've got to that point with people, and as I said right at the start, it's a very last resort.
Okay,
policy.
that's fine.
If we've got to that point, then they are a risk to anybody who's in the building.
Okay, that's fine.
Thank you. Councillor Salt.
Yeah, so on that, it's a similar point really. Throughout the document, you use the term session and meetings. And I just think we need to be strict on the language that we use so it's clear. Because the problem with policies is if someone wanted to dispute your policy, they find holes in your policy. That's the way kind of legislation and law works. So if you use the same language throughout and use the term activity, I think it covers everything then, whether it's a session or whether it's a meeting. But you could also put a statement, activities within the town hall, by the town council, its partners and hirers or something like that. I don't know, a statement like that. So it's acknowledging that it is for everything. And also on page 1 and 2, you've got examples of what could constitute behaviour that meant someone is excluded from the town hall. I think because you're using language like harassment and intimidation, and you're basing that on identity and beliefs, it would be good to refer to the Equality Act on that because they clearly define what harassment looks like, they clearly define what intimidation looks like, and they clearly define what discrimination looks like, and the terms. So it might be good if you referenced the Equality Act in that. And any other legislation that I can't think of, but it might be worth shoving it under the nose potentially of kind of police for hate speech. There's a law about hate speech and I can't remember the title of the piece of legislation, but it might be worth putting that in as well. Just so you can clearly explain to someone why. And it's not just that you've taken a dislike, you're kind of basing it on someone and coming at it from, basing it on a piece of legislation and coming at it from a legislation perspective and not a personal perspective. That's it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for that, Councillor Jones.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think the other thing is permanent ban, is that banned for life? Because that seems a bit draconian somehow. I mean, I can understand how you would feel if you had a problem with somebody, but you know, they might have been, I don't know, they might have been intoxicated, I don't know. They might come back tomorrow and say, I'm sorry. I just wonder, I think what I'm getting at is there's a few more words needed. As a policy, it's a good policy. It's a needed policy, but I think it needs a bit more work. Just in the interest of moving it forward tonight, can I suggest that we approve the draft with the caveat that it needs more work and bring it back?
Yeah, if you want to.
If you're all right with that, Chair, and you're all right with that, Sarah.
Yeah.
Because there's a few bits and pieces that can be tweaked in there.
Right. Councillor Salt.
I just think on that point that you've just made, if you add a bullet point to the appeals process, so an overturn of the ban, appeal within 14 days, a permanent ban can be looked at again after 2 years have passed. And maybe that gives a bit of, you know, maybe that's not final, or 5 years has passed.
I think it just needs, Chair, it needs a bit more work. I'm sure you'll sort it out in a short order, but I think at the moment, the best we can do is say we approve the draft and let's come back with a few updates in the next meeting, maybe. Everybody's happy with that.
Yeah. This is why I've highlighted this with it being a new policy.
Yeah, that's what I propose, Chair.
That's right.
I propose it, so.
Very important to protect everybody in staff wise within this building and other members of public. Maybe ground.
Great.
Yeah, it's very important. Councillor Salt.
Yeah, sorry, just to come back on that banning thing again. I'm sure Pub Watch do that. I'm sure you like out for so many months or so many
Yeah,
years and then
exactly.
an appeal, because actually, if you look at the Rehabilitation of Offenders Act, your conviction, unless it's something really serious, your conviction can be spent. So it doesn't affect your whole life. I know that doesn't apply here because it's not an offence, but it does give the person the ability to reform. So maybe if you put a permanent ban will be looked at again, if you approach it within 5 years or something, that gives that kind of rehabilitation a chance.
So can I say we agree in principle, but we want a few amendments making?
That's what I propose, Chair.
You're proposing that, proposed by councillor Jones, seconded by,
For it.
Councillor Morton, in favour? Thank you. Okay, thank you. Very important, isn't it, really?
Yes.
Right, moving on to 111 now. The disposal of any assets. I don't think we've got any disposal
No, not this time.
on this time to see. So 111B. Firm approved suppliers as part of the procurement policy. Any no updates on that one? Thank you. But at that point, we will go into confidential. So thank you, everybody who's watched us on YouTube this evening, and we'll see you again next month. Thank you very much for watching.